Hi there, this is Kevin Benedict, Independent Enterprise Mobility Analyst, reporting live from Las Vegas today at the Enterprise Mobility Exchange 2011. And I'm going to do my very best to get your name right because I've screwed it up every other time I've tried.
You got it.
Onyeka Nchege?
Nchege. There you go.
All right. And you're the CIO of Coca-Cola Bottling. Where are you out of?
We're out of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Absolutely.
I listened to a very interesting presentation from you today, and you really nailed a number of things you thought were important for managing mobile projects. Yep. One of the things that you really called out was that IT needs to take ownership in the enterprise mobility space. What did you mean by that?
What that means for us is a lot of times what we end up with is an organization that doesn't really do anything with mobility, right? Everybody owns mobility, right? Because I have access to new and shiny things out there. My partners, my business partners, have access to the exact same material that I have, right? They get to sit next to, I talked about sitting next to Joe on the plane, and the Joe has all the latest gadgets, right? So I sit next to Joe just like my business partners sit next to Joe. And so what happens is everybody thinks they own mobility in the organization. And quite frankly, IT must own mobility. Not only must IT own mobility, but they've got to actually take accountability for it and take accountability for running that forward within the organization and establishing that while they may be consumer devices that are out there that all of us have access to when we leave the 9 to 5, but the IT organization is still responsible for and has ownership of how we proceed forward with mobility in the organization. That to me is absolutely taking ownership of mobility.
You know, in the political arena, at least us here in the States, we understand the concept of Joe the Plumber. But I loved when you brought out Joe on the plane.
Yep.
Because Joe on the plane is the guy influencing your business partners.
Absolutely.
And influencing your CEO that they should have all kinds of gadgets. And then they come back to you in your department and say, hey, I've got this idea from Joe on the plane.
Why can't I have that? Why can't I have that? That's the new motto. Why can't I have that? Yep, absolutely.
And if you're ahead of the game by having ownership and mobility, you have answers.
You have answers, but it's also about educating our business partners on what's available out there in the marketplace, what can you have, what can't you have, and why can't you have it, right? So I talked about the fact that Joe and his organization might have access to some things that are not that critical in terms of sensitive business data, and therefore he can have it on any device that he wants to, and he can walk around with it. If it gets lost, it gets lost. But then in my organization, I may have to tell my business partners, well, here's the reason why Joe can have that, and here's why you can't have that, or it just doesn't make sense for us. But also say it in such a way that I'm not restricting what my business partners can and can't do, right? And that I am actually being more open. So getting back to one of the comments I made around, I want to be part of the solution, not a part of the problem.
Right.
So
I heard a phrase that said the companies that are most at risk are the ones that say no to mobility.
Makes absolute sense to me.
Because if they say no, it's going to happen anyway, but it's going to happen behind their back.
Yeah, and that's what you don't want, right? So you don't want the guy sitting at his desk and he's got the laptop I gave him up and running, and then he also has his own personal laptop sitting right next to it, right? And every so often he looks at his personal laptop and says, hey, I got to get this stuff done. I need to check my Facebook account.
Yes.
I need to do this and I need to do that. Versus, look, how do we figure out how we make both coexist?
Yes.
And I really believe there is a place for both to coexist. But from an IT perspective, we have to take ownership and figure that out and not wait for our business partners to jury-rig a solution, right? So in their solution is I'll have both my devices with me.
So let me put you on a spot with another question, and I got this question from Dr. Ahmed Al-Adel from SAP just a few moments ago. Mm-hmm. He said in his opinion, the mobile technology is advanced further than the business is thinking. So in other words, the technology is all there and the capabilities of doing all these wonderful things are already out there,
right,
but the business hasn't caught up in thinking how they can transform their business to take advantage of it. What's your opinion on that?
I actually do agree with that. And that's where as I talked about our enterprise mobility advisory group, being the guys who are out ahead and saying what's available, because you're right. Our business partners are running 100 miles an hour, and so what they know is what's in front of them.
Right.
Not necessarily what's 2 steps ahead, but it's what's in front of them is what they know. And so what we charge the IT organization with, going back to ownership, is go figure out what that is and understand the capabilities that our business partners require today, and maybe even have a conversation about what capabilities do you require 2 years from now, a year from now, 30 days from now, and then come back and help them understand by educating our business partners on what's available. So I absolutely do agree with that.
All right. Hey, I want to thank you so much for sharing today. I enjoyed your presentation.
I absolutely enjoyed being here.